Hades 2 has been in full release for over a week now, and I've had plenty of time to play it, as well as playing it in early access, which has made me form some opinions about those ding-dang gods on Mount Olympus, and which one is gonna give you the best boon for your buck. These boons range from extremely useful to pretty useful. The game's pretty well balanced. There isn't really like a stinker. There's just a couple gods that don't hit as hard or are more situational depending on your weapon compared to some gods that just crush it in absolutely every run. So let's talk more rock. Let's get into the number one stinker. Who's the worst one? Who is the bad boy of Hades 2? And that's Ares. Somehow, Ares, the god of do violence, isn't as good at doing violence as the other gods. I don't know what happened here. He's the last god that got added to the game. He's the newest god you get when you're playing through the game, and you'd think that they saved the best for last. Well, no, they didn't. The biggest issue with Ares is that his boons on your attack and special don't give you a big percentage boost. Only 20% at common and up to 50% at heroic. Compare that to even something like Demeter, whose attack stuff doesn't give you a ton more damage, and she starts at 35% and goes up to 75 if you go heroic. So hopefully his status effect he puts on is really good, right? Wrong! It's just wounds. And it wounds me to say wounds suck. It adds 50 damage when you apply it, and that's it. And then you can't do that extra 50 damage for 3 seconds. All it really does is contribute to origination, and boy, we are taking a big ol' hit of copium if we're gonna say it activates origination, makes something good. Almost everything activates origination. You need to do better than this technically counts as a status effect. The rest of the kit struggles, and I don't mean it struggles in that it's not meeting expectation. I mean literally, the Kingdom Hearts 2 minigame struggling, it's like that. You make enemies drop a bunch of balls that you can run around and collect to do better that specific round in terms of speed and attack damage, but you only ever get it up to like 20%. There's a duo boon between Hera and Ares that lets you keep 20% of that bonus as you move to different rooms, which is great because at 20%, if you had a heroic attack boon from Ares, it would almost do as much as a heroic attack boon from Demeter. Almost, it'd be 5% short, which is just stinky. This is the violence boy. Why isn't the violence boy better at violence? Falling blades on your dash? I mean, really? Spinning blades when you hold down your Omega charge? That's fine. Again, all of this stuff is fine. I'm not saying if you have the option between Ares boon or licking a battery, you should lick a battery. Although in this metaphor, I guess, is licking a battery Zeus, then you should lick a battery. Oh my god. He just kind of doesn't do a lot. Even his legendary just makes the struggle balls you pick up a little bit better, and they come to you automatically so you don't have to run around and pick them up. In Kingdom Hearts 2 terms, that's draw, and draw should not be a legendary ability in a game. That should just be the standard. Ares at his best has you knocking people's blood out so you can run around picking it up off the floor like, ooh, piece of candy. Stinks. It stinks, at least compared to everything else. Now, I compared Ares a lot to Demeter because Demeter is the other stinker, the other one who's hanging out in C tier down there. But I do think she is a little bit better than Ares. Number one, freezing stuff is pretty useful. It's pretty useful to just stop basic enemies from moving for about 2 seconds. There's a utility to that. Also, her damage percentage is better than Ares' damage percentage. Not than Ares is, than Ares is. Does that make sense? Am I talking right? Did I lick a battery? The rest of her boon pool's kinda mixed. Gust isn't great, but since Gust can go on a cast that also has a different status effect, you could make it so that your cast just automatically triggers origination. You don't need another god for that. Again, huffing copium, but at least you can put 2 status effects on your cast with it so it's automatic and not just one of the 2 contributing factors. Factors? Like today's sponsor, Factor? That's right, gamers, this video is sponsored by Factor. We're going to take a quick break to tell you about how you can take a quick break during your gaming to eat a delicious meal. That's because Factor meals are going to be coming to you fresh, never frozen, and you just got to pop those in the microwave for 2 minutes and you're ready to eat. I get it. You want to be playing Hades too. You don't want to be running to the grocery store. You don't want to be cooking. You want to finish your run, go pop something in for 2 minutes. Know it's going to be tasty. You know it's going to be nutritious, and then you can get back to gaming. Factor has you covered regardless of your dietary restrictions. You're trying to do a keto thing, trying to do a vegetarian thing, vegan thing, trying to keep those calories low, trying to keep that protein high. If you got a dietary restriction, you can figure it out with Factor, and you can get some tasty meals that fit your needs. Factor also understands that you need to be flexible. I got some weddings coming up. I had some weddings earlier this year. I have some cons coming up. I had some cons earlier in the year, and sometimes I gotta delay a box. Factor understands they are flexible with your rescheduling. You can cancel or move a shipment at any time. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code HEIGhtFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code HEIGhtFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Like I was saying, the rest of Demeter's boons are very situational. I have found that healing when you forage is pretty much useless most of the time. Sometimes, if you're really low on health, it can be good. But I think in Hades 1, it raised your max HP. This doesn't raise your max HP. That kind of stinks. It'd be great if it raised your max HP, especially when you got Demeter having a duo boon with Aphrodite that gives you more damage the more max HP you have. Does Demeter give you anything that raises your max HP? No, that stinks. I do like the boon that gives you 1 free hit per chamber. I think that one's pretty solid. Upgrading it though just reduces the amount it primes. That's it. I feel like it would be more useful if it was just like a set amount of armor so that when you palmed it up, you could raise the amount of armor. But no, they're just like, we're going to reduce the amount it primes. Dog, if I was willing to prime, I'm willing to prime. I don't need less prime. The only reason I have her higher than Ares is, 1, her percentages are still better than Violence Man for some reason, but also because if you get her legendary boon, it's so good. Her legendary boon almost bumps her up into B tier, but not quite, because the rest of the kit is just kind of eh. But that legendary boon, ooh boy, basically just cuts 10% off every enemy's health. Because if they're frozen, they just die when they're at 10% of their HP. When you're getting into Typhon, when you're getting into Prometheus, when you're getting into Kronos, that is huge numbers of damage you don't have to do anymore because you just froze the enemy and they die at 10% now. That's really good. Last thing I want to talk about with Demeter is the fact that I'm just kind of unlucky. She's got that boon where it raises the rarity of one of your other boons every few chambers you go into, and anytime that's offered to me, it is either common at the beginning, and that's only every 6 chambers, so it's like gonna happen 4 or 5 times if you get it by chamber 3. Or if it is high rarity, I get it in Tartarus when there isn't enough chambers left for it to activate 1 time. Maybe if there was a level of backwards compatibility where it was like the amount of rooms you've cleared, we can apply it. And then if you do get it in Tartarus, it just upgrades like 4 or 5 boons. That'd be great. But as it stands now, yeah, if you get that late, it doesn't do anything. If you get it early and it's common, it barely does anything. If you get it early and it's rare, that's pretty cool. What's that like? Doesn't happen to me. Apollo is a whole lot of all right. I love dodging. Dodging is fun, so Daze is fun. Now, I don't really understand why Daze needs to be a boon that is offered to go onto your attack, but there's only like a percentage chance your attack inflicts it, when the dash boon and the cast boon just apply Daze already. They just already apply Daze. And the percentage chance is so low on that attack boon, like 25% at heroic, when I could just get the dash boon and like run for a second if I wanted to inflict Daze. Yeah, that one's just a real stinker. I don't know what that one's doing on here. Bigger percentage damage boost than Ares gets. That's great. Daze giving a dodge chance. That's pretty great. I also always like Supernova. It just feels good to make your casting seal get bigger. That just is always pretty nice. Overall, yeah, Apollo's just a pretty nice guy. I'm not as into Omega attacks in general. So the legendary boon just doesn't really fit my playstyle. I can see why people would like it, but it's not really my thing. Prominence Flare goes hard. That big old nuke you drop, I really like that one. That one's pretty cool. I gotta give him a shout out for his duo boon with Hestia, healing you when you dodge. That's really good. That saved my buns in some runs. So overall, Apollo, pretty good. Just there's a few on there that I don't really get why they're as low percentage as they are. Seems like you could just say attacks inflict daze. Actually, you know what you could do? You could merge Dazzling Display with Backburner, the one that gives you bonus damage when you backstab dazed afflicted enemies, and just do that. That way it can still be upgraded. I don't think either of those are super spicy on their own. I mean, Backburner kind of is, but putting daze on the attacks, I don't get it. I don't get why it needs to be its own special boon. I guess because they wanted his attack boon to make your attacks bigger, but if we're gonna put it on a separate boon, it needs something else, and it should have better than 25% chance at heroic. That's just kind of embarrassing for the guy. Now, Hermes is a tricky one because Hermes can't duo with anyone, and we're including Hermes in here because he shows up with a boon symbol. That's it. Selene, not included in this list. I count Hexus as something different. Chaos, not included in here. I don't include them because I feel like their boons are weird, and honestly, if I put them in here, I'd probably put them in with Demeter and Ares because I feel like a lot of their boons are just a bunch of stuff that doesn't really matter to what run I'm doing. So I guess quickly we'll throw Chaos in. They're down at the bottom. They're not as fun as they were in Hades 1. Sorry. But yeah, Hermes' boons, they don't hit like they did in Hades 1. In Hades 1, you could get that boon that gave you more damage based off of the extra movement speed you had, and Hermes' charm gave you more movement speed, and then there was other boons that Hermes could give you that give you more movement speed, and you could go so fast and do so much damage with that. That ain't here anymore. It's all making your Omega attacks a little faster, your regular attacks a little faster. You can dash more often, which was never a problem for me. I don't even really notice it when it's on. I don't notice the attack speed boost. I don't notice the Omega attack speed boost. So why is he so high? He gave me $100. Hermes is here because he's the money man and he gives me money and I like money. Join the Patreon, please. Do join the Patreon, please. That'd be really nice of you. I was gonna joke that it's, but I don't need the money. I do. But like, don't feel like you have to. Don't put yourself in a bad situation to join the Patreon. But no, Hermes, when he shows up, almost always has money, and he almost always makes you more money as you go through the run, and that's pretty good. Anytime I'm going up top, if I see Hermes in one of those first chambers, I try to go to it first in case he gives me money, because that money can be better throughout the whole run. So Hermes bribed his way into B tier instead of being in C tier, and good for him. I am susceptible to bribery, if anyone is curious. Aphrodite is the first one in A tier. Aphrodite, A tier. It makes sense, and how could you not love the goddess of love? Especially in early runs, weak is so good. Having her mana recovery that makes everyone near you weak and just do 30% less damage, that's pretty great. She's also the deliverer of Wispy Winds, which did get nerfed from 3% for every air element you have down to 2% dodge chance for every air element you have, but it's still probably the best way to get dodge chance in a run, and dodging is really good. Her percentage boost on her attack damage is also bananas if it's up close. She's obviously not as great on the torches, but on most other weapons, having that up close damage boost is pretty great. I've found up close damage boost on specials typically isn't as good. Most specials are a ranged attack, but you can also always just pair her up with Poseidon and get that duo boon to make everyone close to you, so everyone feels close. And wouldn't that be nice? I haven't talked a lot about elements, but water and wind are pretty good elements. They give you some of my favorite elemental boons, and her being a water and wind build is pretty nice. It's pretty nice to have that in your boon pool. Gives you some flexibility, and just reducing damage is so good. There's going to be some sort of weak effect you can grab. The rest of her utility boons are also great, just giving you more HP and magic. Do you know what build that's useful on? Any of them. Just giving you more attack and special damage. Do you know what that's useful on? Any weapon. It's mostly useful on faster weapons since it is a flat buff and not a percentile buff, but it's not terrible on the axe. It's just not as valuable. It's really great on the daggers. It makes the daggers really good, especially if you have her attack boon, because her attack boon is really fast and daggers are up close, so that's always going to be up close. If there's a reason she's at the bottom of A tier, it's because her attacks and specials don't put a status effect on, which makes it a little bit tricky to activate Origination. And sorry, Origination matters a lot. If we were doing Arcana tier list, Origination number 1 or 2. I mean, Death Defy's gotta be up there too, but I would almost argue Origination is more important than Death Defy. It's just that good. I'm also not totally in love with a lot of her duo boons. Heart Throbs just never really seem to add up to all that much, and a lot of her stuff is making a heart throb when something happens. Her duo boon with Zeus is really good, but I think we'll talk about that more when we get to Zeus later. I don't think that's as much of an Aphrodite thing as much as it is a Zeus thing. Now, Hephaestus is the bestest, and he's the bestest if you want to try and do something funny. Blast, it doesn't add any percentile damage to your attacks or specials. It requires an additional boon to get you a status effect for Origination. But have you considered how funny it is when you get a high rarity, high level blast boon and you just blast every minute? Every minute would be terrible. Every second? Have you considered that? He also ends up in A tier because a lot of his other boons just are helpful no matter what you're trying to do. They just give you armor. They make you more defensive. They help you do damage to armor, which can be so annoying to carve through if you don't have a specific Daedalus upgrade. His magic recovery boon also just makes you take less damage. It isn't a lot of a damage reduction boost once you get like towards the end game, but in those early chambers, you can basically just offer yourself up on a platter to get hit if you want to recharge your magic, which is kind of fun. Armor's pretty good. You can do a lot of cheesy stuff with it because anytime your armor gets hit by one hit, it stops your health from getting hit by the extra damage. So you can use armor, for example, when you're fighting Kronos and he does the go to that circle or I'll kill you attack. And if you have armor, you can just ignore that and keep hitting him and you'll just lose your armor. It won't do any damage to your health. That's really good and really fun. But also armor is just like more health. It just protects you. He also has a boon that gives you more health, and health is good. It's not as good as it was in Hades 1. It might actually, I think health might actually be good in this game because there's a lot of stuff that benefits you when you have more health, and you can get a lot more health. So I'm going to say health is good. I'm going to say Big Red Bar still good. But yeah, Hephaestus, just a pretty good guy to have around. Poseidon is funny. He's got to be high up in A tier because of how good he is early game at making you better for end game. He's really the only god in this list other than maybe Hermes who is going to help you out in future runs in the run you're in. With the double up and the minor find upgrade, you can get stupid amount of bones, ashes, and psyche on your runs just because you invested in the water guy. Now the rest of the water guy's stuff is also pretty good. Splash is a flat damage upgrade, which makes it really good in the early game and really good if you're using a fast weapon like the daggers or the torches. Froth is also just a better version of wounds, I guess, depending on how fast your weapon it is, making it so that when you hit the enemy, you have a 25% chance to do 50 extra damage, and if you're attacking really fast, you're probably going to get that to pop a couple of times. So yeah, I kind of think Froth is a better version of wounds than Ares has. I guess you do need an extra boon to get it on your attack and special, but it comes automatically on his cast. That's pretty good. He's got a revenge boon that hits stuff with water before it attacks you. You got to prime some magic to use it. But it makes the fish, the little dagger fish in Oceanus, they just die. They just don't get to attack you because they just die. And that's really funny. It's not like particularly useful, and I haven't seen it like pay off huge against other bosses, but it's really funny. Really though, Hermes just bribed his way into B tier and Poseidon bribed his way into A tier because whenever you start like a new game and a new file, the first god you should be giving your juice to is Poseidon because he will make it so that you just get so much more resources you can use to level up faster. It's actually incredible. If you get the minor finds upgrade and double up, you can go from getting like 5 ash when you pick up ash to like 18 ash when you pick up ash, like triple the amount. It's so good. And then late game, he's still pretty good. He's got some good duo boons. His Demeter boon is just really mid, but the rest of his boons are pretty good. I like the rest of his duo boons. Plays well with Hestia, plays well with Zeus, plays well with Hephaestus in a very funny way. I like it. Beach Ball is bad, but it's really funny. So, he even plays well with Apollo. Hestia maybe should not be the first member of S tier. Maybe she should be down at the top of A tier. It's hard to figure out where to put her, but I'm going to put her in S tier just because that balances the tier list a little better. It makes it look better, and that was the deciding factor. Scorch is really good. I like fast attacking weapons, and Scorch is obviously a lot better on fast attacking weapons. It's not as good on the axe because the axe swings slow, but Hestia has so many duo boons that are just cracked. They're just so good. Both Demeter and Aphrodite make Scorch so much better by stopping it from depleting or making it deplete instantly and make people explode. If you get all three together, you can do like almost 3,000 damage instantly, and that's kind of strong. I guess not instantly, you have to build up to 999 Scorch, but that shouldn't take you very long with the daggers or with the torches or even with the spear. The spear even does it pretty fast, especially if you get the double attack on the spear. Oh mama, you ever gotten the double up attack on the spear and the mana recovery option from Hestia? Oh, Hestia also just has like the best mana recovery option. It's so good. It just makes free Omega attacks with the torch. Is so good. Torches are my favorite weapon, if you couldn't tell. But recovering your magic so fast, so good. And the duo boon with Hera, if you get the magic recovery on your attack, so you're just doing crazy damage to everybody who's hitched up every time you recover mana, which is just when you attack. Hot Pot is one of my favorite boons because I love dodge chance because I'm a scrub and I can't dodge things myself, so I need the game to do it for me automatically. Even at common levels, it's 4% and then 8% if you got the enemy scorched, which you should. If you're doing a Scorch build, you should have something that builds up Scorch so they always are ticking down. More Scorch on more of her attacks. Yeah, Hestia's boon pool is pretty freaking great. Her legendary boon, a little hard to get to. There's a lot of different weird little requirements for it. Once you do get it, it's a Scorch machine. If you get to it, you already have a Scorch machine. It's your attacks. You should probably be good at doing Scorch before you get there anyway. But yeah, there's a reason she's at the bottom of S tier instead of at the top of S tier. In the middle of S tier, though, we got Hera. Hera is in S tier not because of stuff she does herself. Like Hitch isn't the best status effect in my opinion. I think Scorch is better. I think Vent is probably better. Hell, I'd maybe even argue that Weak is better. But Hitch clears out enemy mob rooms, and most of the rooms are enemy mob rooms. This isn't something like Elden Ring where you can just run past all of the enemies and go fight the boss. Like, you do have to fight enemies on the way to the boss, and you can lose a lot of health in basic enemy rooms. Hitch clearing those out faster matters. That's pretty great. Now, Hitch against bosses is not so great. So why wasn't Hera demoted to A tier or even B tier if her status effect isn't helpful against bosses? Well, because all of her other boons are so good and so helpful. She can increase the rarity of all of your boons. She can increase the rarity of one boon and give it +2 levels, which is so good. Like, she just can slot into any build you're doing, and you just grab the stuff that isn't specifically Hitch, and you're gonna do better. Oh, your percentage damage is increased. If you have a percentage damage boost, that's most damage boosters. Whatever, I said it wrong. Don't be mad at me. Her duo boons are all incredible. You can pair her with Poseidon to be a major money guy and do more damage based on how much money you have. You can pair her with Hestia so that whenever you recover magic, people just die around you. You can pair her with Aphrodite to charm an enemy and have them join your side and also not try to murder you. You can pair her with Zeus to bait. You got baited. Don't make Hera and Zeus go together. I have never enjoyed their duo boon, and I think it's hilarious that the most toxic couple in Greek mythology are terrible as a duo boon together. Wow. The duo boon really is the divorce duo boon because it gets rid of all of your Hera boons or gets rid of all of your Zeus boons to power up the other one. Real seeing my kids on the weekend energy. But yeah, I gotta give it up to Hera, mostly just for playing so nice with the other gods, and her legendary boon is so goddamn good. It's so goddamn good. You just get 3 boons that are like really good boons. They're elemental boons, and then jazzed up elements. So like, yeah, if you got any other elemental boons, that's sick. Now, sometimes I've gotten this and I've gotten elemental boons for stuff that I haven't had, but I've never had all 4 of the extra boons you get be useless. Like maybe one of them isn't triggered by the time I get them, but that's still 3 free boons that are all really, really, really good. And the only person who's better than Hera is the king of the gods. It's Zeus. Why is Zeus so good? Because Zeus handles crowds and Zeus handles single target. Blitz does so much damage to a single target, it's absolutely ridiculous. And then you can get lightning bounces that clear out crowds so fast. So it doesn't matter what situation you're in. If you're getting Zeus boons, they're just better. And then they stack on top of each other. So you get lightning bolts that lightning when you cast mana. Okay. You get something that doubles up your lightning bolt chance. Okay. Your duo boons are just like more lightning, please. More lightning. Poseidon, oh, we're gonna do more lightning damage to frothed up fuckers. Hephaestus, your lightning's gonna bounce more. Aphrodite, when you dash, you automatically activate your blitz. Apollo, when you do your big shocky thing with your nuke, the nuke attack that I mentioned briefly in Apollo, everybody gets hit by lightning too. It's all lightning, and it all stacks on itself, and it all helps itself, and it's all so good. And it doesn't matter if you're fighting 100 guys or fighting 1 guy, it still just makes it work. And yeah, Zeus, lightning's always gonna be good. Lightning is always gonna be good, except with Ares. The Ares one's kind of mid because it's revenge boons, and there aren't as many revenge boons in this game, and they're not as good in this game. So yeah, I miss the Zeus Ares revenge boon from Hades 1, where you could just do a Thorns build and then beat Hades by standing still. That was always funny. Maybe I'll try and do that in this game. I don't think it'll work as well because they don't have anything that auto triggers your revenge boons. But yeah, other than Ares, everyone's favorite disappointment in this game, Zeus pairs well with everyone except his wife, because they need to get divorced. But do you need to get divorced? If you need to get divorced, why don't you leave a like and a follow? Because then you can watch videos while you're not spending time with your kids. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it. You know, you're going to be paying child support. Pay Tulok support too. I don't know why this is the outro, but you made it to the outro, so this is what you get. Check out Tulok the Card Variant. We did a Hades Magic the Gathering card if that's something you're interested in. We did a little theory crafting over there. That was fun. And yeah, check out the Sleeping with Tulok playlist. That's the playlist we made so that you can fall asleep with the dulcet tones of Tulok. It's got all of our most updated videos from across all of the channels. So also, if you're just worried about the algorithm not feeding it to you, that's a place you can get it. Thank you so much. Bye bye.